Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Sunset Stark series. I almost screwed up my own fucking name. Damn it, Soul! Anyway. I'll explain the story behind all this, I suppose. Basically, the Sunset Starks are the descendants of Brandon the Shipwright, who took his northern fleet. At the time, the North actually had a fleet along the western shores. And he sailed off into the Sunset Sea and was never seen again. His son later burnt what remained of the Northern Fleet in anger since his father had basically abandoned him. Brandon the Shipwright was never seen from again, nor was his fleet. And in theory, he either died or he actually found something, and he couldn't return for whatever reason. In the fanfiction that I've made, he sort of crossed them. He lost like half of his fleet during the crossing, but he found some islands which are similar to the Iron Isles, but like twice the size. And those islands would be, like, way up in the corner over here. If I had any modding experience for CK2, I'd have added them myself. But I don't, so we're starting off mid-invasion from some things. If you read the fanfiction, which I'll put a link to in the description, there's, like 8 chapters that I've done for it so far. I write really slowly, and just when I have the time. It's like a little side hobby of mine. But, and then, alright, I'll give you the basic overhaul of what we're doing. Roderick the Ruthless, Roderick Stark, who's basically a badass and merciless idiot. I say idiot, I don't know. He's like the polar opposite of Ned Stark. Obviously, I have no modding experience with CK2, so I basically just used the custom character designer to put Roderick into the thing, and I gave him 2 kids, Prince Brandon and Princess Alice, and he's married to no one in particular. In the lore, he'll be married to somebody. I haven't, like, one of the Lord's daughters, most likely, but I honestly haven't written that yet. He also has a twin brother and 2 younger brothers. One's Artus and one's Willem. Willem in the fanfiction is over in Westeros fighting with Robb Stark. Where we're starting off, Robb Stark's been killed and Joffrey's sort of taken the north. Which I kind of suppose is a spoiler for the fanfiction, but not really because I haven't got that far. I don't know what's going to happen over in Westeros. But at the point where Roderick is right now in the fanfiction, he's just taking the 100 Isles and slaughtered all the local populace. For those of you who don't know, the locals of the 1,000 Isles are, they're called the 100 Isles to the Sunstarks because they've actually been there, and there's not actually 1,000 Isles. But to the people in Westeros, they actually call them the 1,000 Isles because it's just, they're stupid. But you know. He's wiped out the local populace there, and basically we start off here with the northern fleet, which is called the Winter Fleet, as I recall. And Roderick is planning an invasion of Ibben right here. So we're about to launch that in a moment. We start off with what will consist of the force of the Winter Fleet, basically, which is about 30k troops in the fiction, but we sort of lost a few wiping out the inhabitants of all the islands. In theory, the Winter Fleet would have sailed from over here, like split up into like all different sections, and each bit of the fleet in every lord that I had on the ship split up and went to each of their individual islands and wiped out the local inhabitants and cleared the place. And it took them like half a year to fucking do this, pretty much. They were doing this all while my story over in Westeros was going on, and Prince Willem was over here dealing with Ned Stark and Robb and whatnot. But that's done, and the 1,000 Isles, 100 Isles, whatever you want to call them, are ours. And we are about to launch our invasion on Ibben, which we will do right now. I gave Roderick this bit of land purely because I couldn't, for some reason, make a custom character that started on the 1,000 Isles, which is annoying. But oh well, you know, it's not the end of the world. I have no fleet, which I just realised. I'm gonna have to like spawn some ships actually. Alright, so very annoyingly, it appears that we're going to have to sort of ferry our troops slowly over to Ibben when we do our invasion, which is going to be very, very annoying. But I can't appear to spawn ships, which is very annoying. There you go. What are you going to do? We'll skip ahead to when the invasion begins, basically, and we start landing troops along the coast to fuck up these guys, which in theory should be hopefully doable. I have no idea if we can actually pull it off. I've picked a number of men to start off with that I think is fair for the islands. It's not even all of the troops. The Sunset Islands Company of the Sunset Islands. Oh, that's inventive. But yeah, I picked amount of troops that I think is, you know, reasonable, like what they'd actually take in the fanfiction itself. But whether or not that's going to be enough to take it is debatable, and the outcome is probably going to affect what I actually write in the fanfiction. So if we lose, then that's probably actually going to happen in the actual story, which will be interesting. But yeah, we'll see. Alright guys, the moment of truth is upon us. And Roderick will declare his invasion. Yeah, wait a minute. If we win, King Roderick takes all occupied territory. Good. Yeah, okay. I was just wondering whether or not I have to stick around with vassals that despise me or will despise me. Thankfully not. We can just kill them all, which is what I'm going to get Roderick to do in the fanfiction, assuming that we can actually take Ibben without the locals defeating us, which I'm not sure if they can or not. But like I said, the outcome of all this will affect the how the story goes. Anyway, let's do this. Obviously, I've got like some of my troops here. The rest are still going to get ferried over from the islands, unfortunately. But let's start this. We've got some troops that will land there. And these guys will sail over here. Meanwhile, the Northern Lords are rebelling for my claim to the north, which could happen because the Northmen would be aware in my little alternate history universe, whatever, would be aware of the Sunset Stark's existence since Willem's over there. Or was. Those guys can land. You can go over there and pick up the rest of the troops. And hopefully we can grab some more guys quickly before... Because I'm kind of worried that I got all those guys there. I don't suppose I can hire any more ships, can I? That's what I'm relying on right now. Fucking mercenary ships to carry all my shit. Lore-wise, these aren't mercenary ships. They're actually the Winter Fleet, which is the Sunset Stark's fleet. They have a badass fleet. I'm just saying. Anyway, now that we got those... Alright, sweet. I can now actually... Can you fit into there? No, you cannot. You fucking cunt. You suck, game. Alright. You can't. You can. There you go. That merges those guys together. This 13k can sail over here. And quickly join up before the Ibbenese bastards can rally any men to stop my invasion. This is very similar to how I imagine. This actually quite helps with me writing this later, because I have a very good idea of where we're going to strike first. Because obviously we'd strike the outer islands first and claim them for ourselves. Try to lure the enemy into a beach landing to get in our favor. I was thinking of waiting. I'm not even entirely sure. I mean, in theory, they should be able to raise a decent force. Yeah, they got 10k over there. Alright, I'll tell you what. We're just going to land them there for now. We're going to be safe about this. We landed on Ibsar here. I'm so going to rename these regions. I'll tell you that. We'll land those guys there. Quickly send my fleet to go pick up more. Hopefully they don't send ships over to Ferrum. I'm not even sure if the game's like done enough with this faction to give them enough ships to actually ferry across those 10k men that they have. Oh, come on, I clicked on you. It doesn't look like we're going to get much resistance, which I did kind of anticipate. I mean, the Ibbenese guys are kind of isolists and merchants primarily. They like rely on the whaling trade around the islands and everything. So I don't imagine they have much in the way of a military force. So I was expecting in the fanfiction to just basically annihilate them. I really doubt that they'd be expecting such a large-scale invasion. And by the looks of it, my assumption was rather correct. Yeah, I don't even think they have the fleet What was that guy? I think they're actually sending troops. No. They just sent like a suicide force in there to deal with that. Alright. Suit themselves. Now, they do have plenty of fleets. The AI just doesn't appear to be doing much. Yeah, if they rallied all their ships, I'm pretty sure they would be able to send troops. So, yeah. We'll send a ship over here, and that way he can support... Actually, I'll keep an eye on them first, see where they go. And Roderick's attacking Farlib, which is this place. Yep. Did they go somewhere? Yep, here they are. Fuck me. How long is it going to get you to go over there? Why is my wife convincing... Ugh, what are you doing, love? Don't make me kick your ass. Hopefully Roderick can hold these guys. That's better. It's landing, and Roderick controls the mountains. I'm pretty sure he's got this. Like I said, the Sunset Starks are like hardened. They're basically like the Ironborn, but more badass. By the looks of it, I'm not even going to need... I may as well send Roderick to join in the fun and give chase and lure them into our secondary army. But there you go. That answers the question of where the fanfiction is going to show the... You know, the biggest battle is going to be taking place on 5 when the enemy forces are stupidly attack Roderick. Okay, we'll let them boomerang back and forth between them. And I'll send these 7k over to their capital, now that their main armies are crushed. They're just getting sent in between those two, which is quite funny. They'll keep going back and forth until they're completely destroyed. The garrison for this is very small. Remember, however, we do need to take the entirety of like all of this place. Just in order to claim every single bit of land, so that we don't have to worry about the locals rising up or anything. And in the books, Roderick's already said that he plans on exterminating the populace in order to avoid any civil disputes. So, you know, he's like that. He didn't get the name Ruthless because he's very kind and loving towards everybody. Fuck his enemies. By the way, I gave him this sword, which I'm not entirely... I was going to spin a tale of House Stark originally having not 1 but 2 Valyrian steel swords. Ice and Winter, I think I was going to call the other blade, or Ice and something. Ice being the one that stayed behind with the Stark heir, and when Brandon the Shipwright buggered off, he took the main sword with him. He also took Brandon the Shipwright's... He took his crown, obviously, when he went, and the Sunset Starks have that. Although, technically speaking, the Sunset Starks don't call themselves kings, they call themselves princes, because they still hold to the belief that the king of the North and, you know, the King of Winter is still back over in Westeros, and they still owe their allegiance to them. But they don't realize that that's, you know, the dragons came and the Starks bent the knee. They don't know that. Willem does when he lands in the North, and Eddard Stark tells him all about it, but Willem hasn't exactly made contact with the rest of his family yet to say, hey guys, look at this. At any rate, guys, that is the entirety of the natives' military dealt with, basically. We now just need to take every single region, which might take a while, so we'll skip ahead until that's basically almost done. Well, actually, first of all, we'll skip ahead to when we take the capital, I believe, which would be the best thing to do. Here you go. We've taken the capital, rounded up their leader, along with all of his kids. Imprisoned their entire family. And then we execute all of them. Basically, that is the plan. We are going to completely just annihilate every last fucking one of them. There will be no survivors. No mercy. Every last fucking one of them shall be destroyed. Holy crap, that bitch is... He's got a moustache. And dude, fuck it, I'm doing this guy a favor. I'm doing this prick a favor, fuck that guy. Just as a form of torture, we'll keep him alive for a little bit. Yeah, he's the last living member of his family, so actually I think we'll just kill him. the garrison looking like over there? Let's go to them. And I've got these gentlemen. Is he going to make it there? 5th of May? No, he's not. Alright, let's block him off first. They've just completely gone that way. Alright, ship themselves. Suit yourselves, Gypsy. See, annoyingly, Roderick doesn't have these local vassals with him. He has all of his vassals back from the Sunset Isles. Lord Fisher, Riders, and the Sunstarks. It's a whole bunch of characters. If I had any idea how to mod CK2, or had the time or patience to bother learning. Basically, we just have to slowly mop up and take every single region. Which will then make just holding the regions a hell of a lot easier. What we'll do is we'll create vassals for each of them, and then I'll name them after the houses that they are actually supposed to be. Actually, I wonder if I can make custom characters, use the cheat code to play as them, give them the house customizer thing, and then maybe I can do the house customizer to make them actually a part of the bloodline from back over in the north. Because when Brandon the Shipwright went to the Sunset Isles and sailed off into the east, into the Sunset Sea, he took with him a bunch of small folk that wanted a better life, loads of like 3rd, 4th sons who wanted the chance and the opportunity to, you know, inherit something, because otherwise they'd have just done nothing. So, you know, Mormonts, Tall Hearts, Riders, Fishers, basically most of the lords along the fucking western coast went with their king on this adventure of his, and with a promise of land and riches and glory and whatnot. Mostly sons that had nothing to inherit but themselves, if you know what I mean. But yeah, we'll see if we can do that. I'll do that all off camera and then show you the end results. But anyway, it's going to take me a while to take all of these regions, and we won't bother showing you those. So we will be right back. I pressed the wrong key to end fraps. My bad. We'll be right back. Now we'll be right back. And the entire of Ibben has fallen to the might of the Winter Fleet. Suck it. Winter will come for you all. But yeah, I should take all occupied territory and just be filled with so many titles that I can't count them all. In theory. Yeah, why does he still... Lord of the Port of Thingy. Why is he that? I'll have to kill that prick. Yeah. For some reason I haven't got... Just gonna have to kill him, I suppose. Annoyingly. But there you go. Alright, what we'll do is we'll split up all of these titles and everything. We'll create some vassals, make them Northern Lords and connections to other houses, and I'll split up all of the land as Roderick sees fit. There's plenty of land to go around, and I have no shortage of house names that I have confirmed as Lords of the Sunset Isles. Officially, for the official governance of this place, I was going to, in the fanfiction at least, name my Roderick's twin brother... What the hell did I call his twin brother? Edric Stark, yeah. I was going to name Edric Stark his twin brother as sort of governor of Ibben, kind of thing. My other brother, my youngest, not the youngest, like second youngest, Willem's the youngest, he's over in Westeros and pretty much assumed dead. My other brother, Artis, or whatever, was named the governor of the Hundred Isles in this general area. Sort of like putting Stark banners over the main things, and the other lands will be given to minor lords and whatnot, like third, second-born sons, you know. Anyone that wants to start a Cadet branch to just make their house a little bit more powerful as their reward for the conquest. But yes, that's that. I will hand out the titles and deal with everything. And afterwards, we'll probably start to consolidate our power, like just start invading these shorelines, everything. I'm not bothered about pushing too far south. I just want kind of like the entire northern border of like far east Essos and make it part of the thing. And eventually, I want it all spanning all across the northern continent of that, and then the north itself as well. And that's like the end game kind of thing. Anyway, skipping ahead. Hey guys, all the stuff is done off camera. I'll figure out the speed of what's happened. We've got a bunch of vassals. So got House Ryder. The sigil I've done for them, since I couldn't really find one. Ideally, it would be the same as House Roswell, like similar to them. So I've made it a white stallion on a black field with sort of grey reins to it. But white stallion, black field is the general idea that I went for his. For the House Riders, or Raider, whatever they don't call them, for their sigil. I gave a member of House Flint control of that, since Flint was on the western shore of the north. They'd, you know, the people that went with Brandon the Shipwright were mainly on the west side of the north, because that's where they were along the coast and everything. So the Riders, the Flints, the Fishers control this. Those little islands there. I've given them just those isles there. The Riders control that bit there. Flint controls that bit there. I've given the Sunstarks, who weirdly have adopted R'hllor, which that I didn't do that myself. That's just done that. And I might actually make that part of the actual fanfiction, that how Sunstark went to R'hllor. Because the capital of the Sunset Islands has Winterhold as the main capital, but just underneath Winterhold, because it sits on top of a cliff, and then you've got the giant city around the base of the cliff that formed, which is where the Brandon the Shipwright landed, and it's called Brandon's Landing. You know, inventive, I know, right? I'm a genius. But but yeah, the Sunstarks' home, or at least the main branch of them, since this guy would be like an uncle or a distant relative who's been given this extra land. Back home for the main branch, the Sunstarks were the Starks of Brandon's Landing. Eventually, they changed their name to Sunstark, kind of like how the Karstarks eventually changed their name to Karstark. But yeah, at any rate, Brandon's Landing has like a mix of the locals, which are the Northmen and their descendants, and then basically everyone else. There's like a giant empire to the southeast, which the locals come up there. But basically, Brandon's Landing has like a whole mix of different like foreigners and traders and merchants and everything coming through. So it would kind of make sense that the R'hllor sort of seeped into the whole place. You know, they're trying to spread their religion everywhere, right? So there you go. But there you go, that's official. There you go. The Sunstarks follow R'hllor, one of the only houses on the Sunset Islands that don't actually follow the old gods. So there you go. There's a bit of lore that the game is just giving me. Titan's points I've given to House Titan, and I've given that Titan's bite as well, because it doesn't go well with Roderick or anything. There isn't a Valyrian steel sword in CK2 that sounded anything like what I wanted to give Roderick. So I've just decided, I don't know whether or not they'll actually have a Valyrian steel blade or not, but it won't be Titan's bite, that's for sure. So I've given that hymn named a house after it, which is a blue sword on a white field. So House Titan controls that, which is nice. And I do believe that gives me the opportunity to... I can't colonize those two places. I can do the thing with slavery as well. Well, the Sunset Islands I've given to nobody in particular. This little region down here I've given to some Roswells. Back on the Sunset Islands, there's like one of the larger islands is half Ryder and half Roswell. They kind of like hate each other, kind of like the Brackens and the Blackwoods. They have like a rivalry. So Roderick is what I was looking for. Roderick's kind of like put them away from everyone. But all the lords that have been given lands are sort of like fourth-born sons, cousins, uncles, and whatnot. They're sort of making new branches of the other house, since all of these houses would have main faction of branches and families elsewhere on the Somerset Islands already. So, you know. I do believe that covers everything. I've got all my kids. We've shown you Brandon, haven't we? Who's slowly becoming awesome. We've got Alice, who we've shown you already. Lara, who's nothing amazing. And then we got Prince Willem, who's named after Roderick's brother, youngest brother, who's off in Westeros. Not really doing anything. Whether or not Willem's actually alive is debatable, but since I haven't actually written that part yet, and I'm not entirely certain whether or not he's going to make it. But, you know, we'll see.